Hey, what's up guys? For coming at you with a brand new Yu-Gi-Oh! Discussion video. We haven't done a video in a while, I do apologize for that, heading over to exams for university. However, they did just reveal the 5th and final Dark Magician card to be coming out in Legendary Duelist 6 or Magical Hero, and it was really cool that I definitely needed to talk about it in a video. And here it is, guys. This is the 5th and final Dark Magician card. It is Servant of the Soul. It is a quick play spell, and unfortunately, it is not a Dark Magician Girl ritual monster, nor is it a Dark Magician Girl specific card. So I was wrong about my prediction on the ritual, but hey, there's potential new DM support coming out, possibly in the Millennium box or whatever it's called, the thing that Japan's getting at the end of the year, which of course had that DM Realized Fusion in it. So who knows? Anyway, let's take a look, before we go into the effect, let's take a look at the artwork and the name. Servant of the Soul obviously is a reference to the souls. We've seen the souls of both DM and DMG in, of course, Magician Souls, which was one of the first cards that we got revealed from this set. And it is, of course, a nice reference in the fact that he is the faithful servant, which I think is the English name of this card. I could be wrong. Of both Pharaoh Tem and Yugi, as of course when Mahad sacrifices himself to protect the Pharaoh, his soul lives on throughout the Illusion Magician, aka the Dark Magician, and we've got the Magician of Dark Illusion to reference that as well, which is really cool. So there's so many of the Dark Magician cards do have flavor in reference to the Dark Magician lore, but let's get into the effects because it's actually a pretty interesting card. So it's a quick play spell that reads you can only use its second effect once per turn. So you can use the first effect as much as you want. Its first effect is to place from your hand, deck, or graveyard on the top of your deck one Dark Magician or one card that specifically lists the card Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl in its text, except for this one. And its second effect is during your main phase, you can banish it from your graveyard. Draw cards equal to the number of Palladium Oracle monsters, Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl on the field and in the graveyards with different names. Now, the key thing to take out of this effect is the fact that it lists Palladium Oracle monsters, which means we have Mana and we have Mahad, which of course are the human forms of both Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl. So this is the first time we've seen a card in this arc, in the Dark Magician archetype, other than Mahad and Mana themselves, actually wants you to run these two cards in the deck. Obviously, one of the instant combos that jumps to mind is you can actually place Mahad on the top of your deck, then draw and immediately special summon Mahad, kind of getting rid of a brick. Now, I don't see Mahad seeing a place in too many modern day Dark Magician decks. I always used to run him as a bit of a meme card to get over Chaos Max back in the day, but he could definitely see some play. Obviously, Mana is a much more powerful card as she's able to do some protection and summon herself out on the field, which is cool. And of course, if both of these are destroyed, you get DM and DMG. Now, the issues I have with running these two in the deck is, of course, that it adds more bricks to a Dark Magician deck. However, this card does not specifically require you to run these two. It is a decent potential draw too if you have DM and DMG out on the field, and if you're playing a deck that revolves around having them both on the field, or even just in the graveyard, you can just draw two cards. This is a quick play spell that lets you essentially draw two cards. And yes, that is a once per turn effect, hard once per turn effect, but having an extra draw spell is really good because I know a lot of people out there are actually worried that the spellbook engine becomes a little bit, too easy to stop because you can Ash the blue boy, Ogre the blue boy, so many things you can do to stop that combo. Here we have an actual another draw spell, and it's got, we bash it, and the fact that we can actually put cards from the top of our deck. Up until recently, we've actually had no way to salvage Dark Magician spell traps, and finally we have a way to do that. So if our opponent destroys our Eternal Soul, if they destroy our Dark Magical Circle, if we really want to put Nav back on the top of our deck, Dark Burning Magic is a really easy way to recycle Dark Burning Magic, so we don't have to max out on cards like Dark Burning Magic anymore. We can even cut it down to maybe one. I still think it's good to run it two if you're running it. This card is actually very powerful. The downsides of this card, obviously, are it is another spell in the deck. The Dark Magician archetype really does struggle in the fact that it's so spell trap heavy, And yes, this card, you know, this card more so wants to be in the graveyard more than anything else. And there's actually nothing stopping you from using both effects in one turn, which is great. One thing we often see with these like legacy support spells that really do a lot, like a good example is the Alien spell, is that they actually, you can only use, and I think another one's Ojama Duo, you can't actually use both the effects in the same turn. I mean, Nav is another one as well. So you can't use both effects. But this card is a card you can use both effects for. So this card could easily see some play as a 1 or a 2 of. I think 3 of, potentially if you are really heavily going to worry about your spells being trapped on. But with so much draw power, you know, Dark Magician has access to, you've got Allure of Darkness, you've got the Spellbook Engine, you have this now. I mean, you can run Desires as well if you want in the deck, depending on your build. Although I do think this card may see play at lower numbers if you're not running a Dark Magician Girl variant. Especially is because I don't see many decks, I don't think many decks are going to be running Mahad and Mana as much as I really want to include Mana in the deck. There's just no space. Again, I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't get a Dark Magician Girl ritual, but there's a chance we could get her down the road. But anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on this card? Do you think this is a much needed card for the Dark Magician archetype, having a bit of recursion and an in-archetype draw spell, which is really cool? Would you have liked to see another monster? Like, we only got 2 new monsters from his support, which I guess Mai only got 2 monsters, but her 2 monsters were insane. And yes, of course, Magician Souls is insane, but the fusion could have been a little bit better. Let me know in the comments below. Are you going to be running this in your deck? And does it actually encourage you to run both Mana and Mahad back in your deck as well now to try and get this off? Are you a little disappointed that Dark Magician Girl's not on the artwork? I think it's kind of weird personally, considering it does work with her specifically, but she's not featured in the artwork. I do think that that's quite odd, especially because every other card we've seen so far from this Duelist pack has had her on the card in some way with the Dark Magician. I love seeing them together on artwork. I think it's really cool. But yeah, that's just my quick thoughts on the card. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you for my next video.